All right. Welcome back, folks. Just nice buffalo. I'll probably just eat one of them. Restore freedom. Vote. Everybody vote. That's what Bonnie's freaking out about. By the way, can you hear me? Go right away. Get from Jim that he can hear me. He can hear me, good girl. Welcome, folks. Welcome back to Amped Up with Cliff Schechter. I am Cliff Schechter, that guy that's amped up. And we're going to have a couple more amped up people on the show today. The always popular and always intellectual poem writing now, David Schuster, who, if you haven't read his version of The Raven based on Donald Trump's rule at our Substack, you're really missing out on something, because it's freaking brilliant is what it is. When I grew up, I want to be David Schuster. And I can already see his smile, even in the waiting room. Garlin Gilchrist, I'm not sure I'm allowed to call him that anymore, who honestly has the biggest smile of any human ever concocted on this round spinning ball that we live on. And Garlin and I worked on campaigns together back in the day. Oh gosh, 15, 20 years. I don't know. I'm old. Garland's younger than me. Don't worry. He's younger. You could tell. He went from that to being he was a tech genius out in Silicon Valley, went back home to Michigan, got elected lieutenant governor with Gretchen Whitmer, and has remained the same progressive populist guy. He was a terrific addition to that administration. That's done great work. And now he's running for governor. And I'm going to invite David Schuster in, and I'm going to invite Garlin Gilchrist. I'm sorry, Lieutenant Governor Garlin Gilchrist in.
Hey, go blue. Yes,
go
David.
blue,
Let's
Garlin.
go. I see where this conversation is going. That's right.
See? Garlin,
right.
I didn't remember. Did you go to Michigan too?
You sure did.
I absolutely went to the greatest university in the history of the world. I got 2 engineering degrees from there.
One wasn't enough, huh? You had to go two?
You know, it's especially impressive to get an engineering degree at Michigan, no matter what, because that's meaning you're having to go to North Campus, which is a bus ride from Central Campus, and you're off. And so to make that bus ride in the wintertime, hats off to anybody who does that. But Garlin, it's great to be on the show with you. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Thank you, David. Cliff, my man. Thanks. We
Who
did.
knew we'd end up here, Garlin? Like, you would turn into somebody, and I would just be some guy raving on, like, live streams and stuff. And you'd be like you would turn into a real human being.
One of us is still yelling on the internet. This is true.
You were always you were meant for great things, and I do say that without I'm not being facetious. Like, you were always brilliant with the tech stuff, but you're good with the marketing. You knew what we were doing. We worked back in the day, David, at Brave New Films, Robert Greenwald's outfit.
Yep.
And that was a time when we needed to have whole crews and 50 people to put together like a political video that was like 3 minutes. The internet changed that a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
But Garland went on, and obviously we see where he's up, and he's running for governor. And I don't care. I'm already endorsing him. You doesnI'm really matter. I'm
endorsing him too right now.
It all matters.
Garlin Gilchrist for the governor of Michigan.
Garlin! Yeah, because David Schuster knows that folks of character go to the University of Michigan. Yes. I'm just giving in, folks. Even though I live in Ohio, I'll be killed for this. There will be people who come after me for this, but I have a couple very good friends who've gone to Michigan, so I'm a fan. But on top of it, I know Garland's character, and I think the thing that's so important to me, and I've gotten in arguments with people ideologically and for years now, and I always say to them, the candidate matters. It matters more than you understand. Like the character of the candidate matters. We know we have a guy tearing down the East Wing. I think it's torn, I should say, and doing, any number of other insane things right now. He just suspended 2 prosecutors for bringing up January 6th, just for mentioning it. You know, it's not, it's verboten. You can't mention it in the office anymore. You can, if you're, once you're pardoned by him, join ICE and go and physically attack people, but you can't. In any case, didn't mean to get off our happy message. I'm just saying Garlin is somebody of immense character, and that is why, like, you know, I don't know. Well, we're going to get talking here. I may agree with him on 100% of things. I may agree with him on 70% of things, but I would rather go with somebody who I disagree with on a few more things, and I know has the character to always do what they believe is right for all of us, than somebody who lacks that character. And I think there's been a huge problem in our politics because does anybody have that character in the Republican Party? I mean, I don't like to generalize, but they've kind of made it impossible not to. Once Lisa Murkowski voted for the BBB bill, I was like, all right, check that one off too. That's the last one I could think of who maybe had any character. David, why don't we let you start asking Garland some questions, and we'll go from there.
And I've got a lot, but Garland, let's get right into the race. What's the number one issue in Michigan? What's the number one challenge, and how do you solve it?
I mean, the number one issue in America is that we need people who are strong enough and willing enough to stand up to Donald Trump. Look, Michigan, we've made tremendous progress in these last several years. Me and Governor Gretchen Whitmer have done a lot of important things. Look, I'm responsible for putting 40,000 new housing units online, even though still we have 100,000+ that we need to build. And why do I bring that up first? Because when I go to all 83 counties in my state across both peninsulas, the thing that comes up in every single conversation is the lack of affordable and available housing. No matter if I'm in a super wealthy place or in a super rural place or in a super urban place, like people need more access to homes they can afford to rent or afford to buy. And people not being able to do that creates a level of desperation at a time when prices are high on everything else. And only bad outcomes come out of everybody being desperate. Number one thing is we got to stand up to this president who is attacking the progress that we have made. But we've made progress on expanding access to healthcare and mental health services. We've made progress in terms of funding our education system at the highest level it's ever been funded in the history of the state of Michigan. We've made progress, like I said, on building housing units, on raising wages and things like that. But this guy, he is the apex predator of distrust. He is he's on the hunt to hurt people in Michigan. We are the state, Michigan, that is more impacted by tariffs than every other state, even Ohio, in terms of what it does to manufacturing. But I was just with a group of small business owners, and they are super concerned about this. Their costs are going up, the prices are going up, they're charging people. Also, it's really bad. So what am I going to do about it? First and foremost, I am going to be that person who is going to stand up to this administration and protect our progress. And if that means I need to go have a fight with Donald Trump about what he's doing to our universities in the state of Michigan. He attacked the University of Michigan, another one of our colleges, Grand Valley State, because they have the audacity to believe that students of color should have the support they need to graduate. Like, this is the guy who's attacked institutions, attacked people in the state of Michigan, and I won't stand for it. So I'm going to stand up to that. But I'm also running for governor as a person who can get things done, because I'll tell you, people were really frustrated with the progress or the lack of pace of results. And when you're frustrated, you believe people who lie to you. And that's what happened in Michigan. That's what happened in a lot of parts of the country. This guy's a liar. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to get things done. When you got a system that is broken and rigged and set up for millionaires and billionaires and huge corporations, you get an engineer to fix it to make it work for people. And that's what I'm going to do.
And one of the truths that Donald Trump, I guess, just sort of blurted out, and it is a truth, is that they are cutting off SNAP benefits, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits, as of the 1st of November because the government shut down. That's 42 million Americans. They're going to not get their SNAP benefits. What can be done in a place like Michigan at the state level to somehow soften the pain of that?
I got to tell you, it's hard. Look, SNAP is funded by the federal government. The federal government, federal money makes up almost half of our state budget. We ain't got enough money to backfill all the stuff that they're breaking with this government shutdown that they're holding, to be clear, so that they can jack people's healthcare price up or costs up later on this year and early in the next year. So we are trying to work to see, you know, what we can do kind of around the edges for the most vulnerable people, pregnant women, seniors, and children. I'm, you know, working with those food banks that do have resources, calling on the private sector to step up. I mean, they've been hoarding money, not paying taxes. They might as well help feed people, you know, to make sure people can step up and step in. But what needs to happen? This is Congress's responsibility. This is Congress's job. All those Republicans in Congress in Michigan who have supported this president lock, stock, and barrel, who they need to step up and make sure we can get these benefits supported and frankly get the federal government open. That's personal to me. My dad is retired from the Department of Defense. He worked there for 33 years, which means during
You mean
my
the Department of War?
I don't even
I'm
know what
sorry,
that
I
is.
couldn't help
Right.
myself.
I don't
The
know what
most,
that
I
is.
mean,
And
again,
so, but I remember,
ludicrous.
but
Go ahead.
like my dad got furloughed multiple times when I was a kid. We just had, we're coming up on the second payless payday. Like payless paydays are like the best illustration of Trump's America, and that's what we got to push back on.
Well, I'll ask a more serious one in a question in a second, but I have to ask you this. Do you think you could solve the problems if you would have a 99% marginal tax rate on Michiganders whose last name starts with D and ends with S? Do you think that would work?
No, you can't solve
I mean,
that.
you can't do that? Okay, anybody
You
out there,
know-
I'm talking about, of course, the DeVosses who have
Hey.
gone well beyond Michigan to pollute the rest of our country. I'm not sure if Betsy DeVos or Linda McMahon, that's quite a comparison for who was the worst Secretary of Education. Was it the Amway scammer or was it the WWE bread and circuses person? I don't know. On a more serious note,
Let me no, hold on. I gotta tell.
Oh, go for it.
So the DeVos family, they have already committed to spend $5 million in support of John James becoming the governor of Michigan. John James, the absentee congressperson from Michigan's 10th district, a person who has again voted every single time to support this Trump agenda that is hurting people. He voted to gut Medicaid this summer. 182,000 people in that district get their health care through Medicaid. I held a town hall on those Medicaid cuts in the district. I marched with union workers in the district in Warren, Michigan, at his office where he was not, because they couldn't find him. Like this is a person that can't be supported. But Betsy DeVos, the DeVos family, they put $5 million. This is what we are up against in terms of these super mega MAGA rich people and their huge corporations looking to protect their interests, not promote ours. That's what we got to fight back against.
I mean, that's the thing, and that's what you're so good. I can ask you any kind of crazy question, and you can turn it into a perfect and brilliant answer. I mean, that was exactly right, and everything you've been talking about so far, you know, says to me from fighting Trump and not sort of pretending that we're still in an era where you write sort of. I mean, to me at this point, writing strenuous or whatever you want to call it letters to Trump is like thoughts and prayers. You know, it's that much of a joke. It does nothing, and you're somebody who's talking about standing up to him. But also, again, anyone who doesn't understand, it's the billionaires against all of us. It's not even they're extracting from all of us, and you know, and they're trying to essentially. The way I put it is they're taking over our democracy and taking our rights away and taking over our economy and basically taking our money out of the bank. And you know that is a fight you're going to have to have. Of course, they support John James because he looks like is he a real human? He looks like they created him in a factory. Like, look, we need a black Republican. Let's give him a really cool alliterative name like John James. You know, it doesn't even sound real. And, you know, he just says whatever the damn party. I'm not going to get you in trouble here, Garlin. Don't worry. I'm being whatever. But do you have, so right now when you're talking about your elected governor, okay, you know, in terms of tax fairness in Michigan, which is one place to start, you know, I don't know how much power you have when it comes to taking on monopolies. I have to believe that most of that comes from the federal government, but something you can do is take on some of the billionaires in terms of their tax rates and what, you know, at least on the state level, what they can write off and get away with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have ideas along those lines? Are there things that can be done that haven't been done yet?
Yeah, it's actually, this is going to be a really exciting election year in 2026 for a whole host of reasons in Michigan. And one of them is that we actually have ballot initiatives that are gathering signatures right now that would do things like end the corporate participation, uh, and also a ballot initiative called Invest in My Kids that would, you know, put a real tax rate that doesn't allow, but that forces these sort of super wealthy people to pay what they owe so that we can invest in public education. Like, I'm supportive of both those initiatives. Those would be the most
Garland, can you
significant
say the
reforms.
first one again? You froze for a second,
Yeah.
at least for
So
here,
get
and
the
I
corporate
lost.
money. Sure. Yeah. Get corporate money out of politics. And then the
Outstanding.
second one is called Invest in My Kids.
Yep.
These would be meaningful changes to our tax code so that they pay what they owe so we can have what we need to fully fund our public schools, to be able to make sure people have access to health care and mental health services, to put money in people's pockets, you know, to
Right.
fund programs like the one I expanded, the most successful guaranteed income program in the country called RX Kids that we've expanded from Flint, Michigan to the Upper Peninsula and Mid Michigan and Southwest Michigan and a lot of places in between. This is what we can do when like these corporations pay their fair share, when these super wealthy people who are making so much money. You know, you saw the New York Times article from like last week that was saying rich people are spending money and doing great, but everybody else doesn't know how they're going to get through next week.
Right.
And that's a reality that we can fix, that leaders in government, the state level, the federal level, have the tools to make this right. And it's just a matter of people being encouraged enough to do it.
One of the questions I always have for somebody who's running for governor or running at a state level is sort of the perception or giving us a sense about how much about Donald Trump, who you rightfully say we need to take on, is cutting through. And the example that I have is that, Garland, I'm on a group chat with some of my fellow Michigan alums, and these are all well-educated, politically astute, they're follow politics and whatnot, but their primary concern on the group chat is whether Bryce Underwood, the quarterback of the University of Michigan, is going to throw the ball more often than he hands the ball off because of
Right.
because of his talents. And I sometimes wonder, and when Donald Trump does something like he imposes a 10% tariff on Canada because Donald Trump doesn't like a television ad that Canada runs quoting Ronald Reagan during the World Series. I mean, so many of us are just sort of used to this. And I fear that a lot of people, even people who are engaged, are sort of tuning it out. Give us a sense about how much that particular story, for example, did that break through in Michigan? Were people following this? I mean, did it get a lot of attention?
So I think it's less. First of all, I want to see Bryce pass the ball more. Okay, 17 pass attempts is not enough. So let's be real about that. Look, we got him to play football. I need to let the quarterback play football, but that's a whole nother conversation. Look, it is less about the like individual machinations of what horrible thing is Trump going to do today or next week. What has broken through is that these prices are only going up in Michigan, and Michiganders, like 3/4 of them, according to some recent public polling, 3/4 of them connect those price increases to tariffs. And it's because, look, tariffs are why school supplies like pencils and notebooks were more expensive in August. And I got 3 kids, okay? I got twin 7th graders and a 1st grader. We had to buy a bunch of pencils and notebooks. They were 30% more expensive this year because of tariffs. Tariffs are why candy is more expensive for Halloween in 2 days. And all these people trying to buy candy to give kids, like, all that candy is more expensive because of Donald Trump. So people in Michigan have connected the fact that prices are higher, that jobs are getting cut, that shifts are being cut at auto plants, that people have been laid off from car companies, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 suppliers because tariffs have screwed up demand. I walked the floor of a supplier in Saginaw, Michigan a few weeks ago that said they had the orders for a part that had 450,000 orders last year, that had 30,000 orders this year. That's because demand was completely killed because of tariffs and because this president denies climate change and therefore is hostile toward electric vehicles. Like, Trump has just taken a sledgehammer to the most productive parts of the economy in Michigan, and people know that. And so that's what they are not happy about. And that's why we need leaders, again, who are going to step up to him and stand up to him at the federal level through our congressional delegation, but also at the state level, who are going to protect and promote our people's interests and do what we can with our state tools to make good things happen for them.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it here too. I mean, I'm in the southwest corner of Ohio in Cincinnati, and it's not as much going on in terms of of auto parts and some of these other types of jobs. You're talking about electric vehicles, but the northern half of the state, Toledo and Youngstown, these places that do outside of Michigan, maybe the places that create most of this, like he's destroyed them. And I just it's created a situation here where I've said to people right now, hey. I know our friend Lefty Gramps is in there. Oh, you said the banner is covering half of my face. Thank you for telling me. What am I doing here? How about that?
You
see my face now? Clearly, I did something wrong. So good that you told me. I guess I'll be sitting up higher for the rest of this. But we've seen it where like Sherrod Brown is actually up in polling right now. And he outperformed Kamala Harris by 8 points. He only lost by 3 when everything was going well for them. And now all this stuff has crashed. And so, we see it happening here, but in your state, your whole state, I mean, that relies so much on these industries. Like, is it just the tariffs, or is it the Taco Trump effect too, that you never know, from time to time, like what the situation is going to be?
It's all connected. I mean, the president being just erratic, but the thing that's consistent about him is that he will find a way to do harm. He will find a way to hurt somebody. He will find a way to crush small businesses. That's, I think, what is taking its toll in the most serious at the most serious level. And so, what people in Michigan want is just somebody they can trust. I think trust is going to be one of the most important currencies in this election. Like, again, we have the person who is just like the Tyrannosaurus Rex of liars is the person who's in the White House right now. And so we got to combat that, not with people who can be better or smoother liars, but with people who can tell the truth and actually get things accomplished. And that's why I'm running, to be that person and say, you know what, I don't bring your sort of typical like kind of politician lawyer mindset to this stuff. I'm an engineer. I'm a problem solver. Like, I'm about fixing the problem, making things happen, delivering a solution, bringing it to people. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I think people are hungry for. They're hungry for results. They're hungry for action. They're hungry for leadership. They're hungry for integrity.
So when Donald Trump says, as he just did, I guess, to the military on a ship off the coast of Japan, oh, we've tamed inflation and grocery prices are way down. I imagine that Michigan, like the rest of the country, inflation is actually up and grocery prices are up.
What a great day was up when I went to the grocery store 2 days ago. So he's detached from actual Americans' reality. I don't know when the last time he looked at a milk container. You know what I mean? Like he's detached from it, and nobody close to him, because his cabinet is a bunch of millionaires and billionaires. I mean, like, these people are not connected to real life.
Hey, Cliff, I think you're on mute, my friend. There we go. Well, I'll ask the next question while we wait here. So, Garlin, to sort of shift gears a little bit, there's this, it's usually the case that the economy is the number one issue, the number one concern for voters. The issue of trust, how does it sort of fold in? I mean, is the idea that if Donald Trump's willing to lie about all kinds of different stuff, how can you trust that his policies, whether it's economic policy, whether it's foreign policy, whether it's healthcare, that is going to actually help Americans as opposed to hurt them? Is that the general theme?
Well, the way I think about it is, it's not like you're going to have a voter say, I'm voting on trust. That's my number one issue I care about. But I think it's important. And I think the lack of, again, how just like all over the place this person is, breeds distrust, on top of just the outright lies and gaslighting that he does the American people. So for me, I think it's important to show how in these individual things that matter, housing, healthcare, childcare, education, the economy, like, to show that this is a person who you can't trust. That's why we need leadership we can trust at the state level in the state of Michigan. So that's part of my argument.
So is it,
Yeah.
oh, okay, good. Everyone can hear me again. Everyone can see my face.
All good.
Hey, I could, if I can just come up with one more way to screw up, to trifecta.
It's all good.
So what, obviously economic issues and healthcare is pretty related, obviously, to economic issues are what's most important. Are there other issues, other things that you're running on? Look, the Republicans are going to do their usual song and dance, which means lie, about crime. Right. Detroit's one of those cities they love to mention too, not quite up there with Chicago, but, they want to create an image, of course, of like, oh my God, this black city. And we know what they're doing when they do it. Right. I mean, it's based on race, obviously. I'm sure the same thing will happen with the lies about immigration. They've already prepared for all of that. How do you combat all of that? Because I think, what I thought a lot of Democrats had learned a long time ago is if you just allow a lie to stay out there and you don't refute it, it becomes reality. And so many Democrats just think, oh, well, people won't believe that, but they will. I mean, like they can believe all sorts of things. So how do you combat those kinds of lies?
First and foremost, we can't be afraid to talk about things that are front of mind for people. So when I go to Northern Michigan, I'm in open forums. I answer a question about anything. And so if someone wants to talk about immigration, I'll talk about the fact that, of course, we need to make sure that people are safe in our communities, are welcome in our communities, that we have rules that make sense and a process that people can follow. And we want to actually make that a reality in America. And the truth is, Trump has no interest in that. He's only interested in attacking people and using American troops to attack not just immigrants, but American citizens. And that is ridiculous. And that is un-American. And so that is what we cannot accept. That is what we must not tolerate in this system. But I think Democrats have for too long been too afraid to actually just have a real honest conversation. And I think that's frankly why people have been frustrated with the people in the party. Well, that's why I'm bringing a different kind of energy to it, right? And saying, look, let's have that conversation about what it means to deliver public safety in the community. I live in the city of Detroit. I know what it takes to invest in the people on the ground, actually solving the problems. And we need to invest in to, again, deal with the sense of desperation that people have because their baby formula is more expensive than it ever has been, because their eggs are more expensive than they ever have been, because you just got laid off from a job that you had had for 5 years and never got a raise, but your rent went up every single year. Like that is what causes desperation that leaves people need to feel like they got to do what they got to do and take something from somebody else. We need to create instead an economy that works for people and says that because you are doing what you know is right and feel is best, that you can be actually able to afford to put food on the table. That is what we have to confront. And that's why one of the things I'm running on is ending poverty wages in Michigan. Look, we've been fighting for 15 for a long time. You meet somebody who's making $15 an hour, they're not making enough money. That's a poverty wage. Y'all see how expensive rent is, how expensive mortgages are. The fact that I'm 43 years old and any other 43 and under person I talk to thinks they're never going to be able to afford to buy a house. That's because these poverty wages are not working for them. So I'm running on a platform of actually increasing wages here in the state of Michigan so that people can actually afford to stay here and succeed. It's really important. And we can get to a place where our businesses in Michigan, even the smallest ones, can afford to be able to pay people like that because so many people have so much money in their pocket that they can actually patronize businesses so we can raise wages. That's what we need to get to.
Garlin, a lot of people love Gretchen Whitmer, the outgoing governor of Michigan. What has she been like to work with? Has she given you any advice, political advice or campaign advice as you embark on this path?
We've made a really good team. The governor and I, essentially, we complement each other really well because you look at us, don't like we got that much in common. Man,
you guys look exactly alike. What are you talking about?
Lawyer, entrepreneur, Detroit, Lansing, career elected, never been elected. But we have in common the things that matter, and we've worked together to make a lot of progress in Michigan. Again, getting Michigan on a real path to fully funding public education by funding it at a higher level than we ever have in the history of our state. Being the first state in 70 years to repeal right to work. We restored collective bargaining rights for public sector employees that Rick Snyder gutted 13 or 14 years ago. We ended a tax. So Republicans say they hate taxes. When Rick Snyder was the governor, they changed the state constitution so they could tax people's pensions to pay for a tax cut for rich people and big companies. My father, again, a federal government retiree, my mother, a General Motors retiree, had their taxes and their pensions, their fixed benefit pensions taxed, which meant that what they planned to have, they planned for in retirement, was taken from them by Republicans. So we fixed that when we had a Democratic trifecta in 2023. So we've done good work. We just got to protect this progress. And Trump is hell-bent on hurting people and taking away from that progress. That's why I'm gonna stand on business and make sure that we can stop him from hurting people here in the state of Michigan.
And I want to defend also Gretchen Whitmer for a second, because I got so annoyed. You know, you just have these people who look, we don't have to think Donald Trump's a criminal. He was convicted on 32, 34 counts. He was an adjudicated rapist in a court. I mean, these are facts, right? Gretchen Whitmer, you know, getting that picture taken in the White House when she was there advocating for your state, right? And I'm sure she didn't want to be there. I'm sure nobody wants to be within 10 feet of Donald Trump. From what I hear, it smells pretty bad too, but that's a different story. And so the fact of the matter is that you know, she was there fighting for the state of Michigan. So, you know, it leads to a good question for you. You're going to fight Donald Trump, from what you're saying. I believe that, knowing you. But, you know, if you're stuck in a situation where you have to meet with him and it's going to benefit your state, what, you know, are you good meeting with him?
Look, I got one job as a governor of Michigan. That's to protect and defend the interests of my people and my state. I will do that. Sometimes that's a conversation, sometimes that's a confrontation, and I will do whatever I need to do. But when we're going to have a conversation about how people are being harmed in Michigan, I'm going to have that conversation with whoever I need to have it with. I'll have that conversation with Donald Trump in Washington. I'll have that conversation with him in Michigan or anywhere in between, if I can protect and defend the interests of my people and my state.
Garlin, you're I mean, for Cliff and I, who are old fogies, you're younger, right? You're in your 40s, 43, I think you said. And
yeah, 43.
I'm a decade older than you, Garlin. And
however, there's some similarities. I have a 7th grader and I have a 3rd grader. So you got a couple of 7th graders and a 1st grader. How do you manage the work-life balance? Speaking as a dad, I mean, you got a great job. You're involved in politics that takes you all over the state. I imagine a lot of nights where you got to be away from home. How do you manage all of that and sort of stay balanced?
I have to say thank you to my wife at least 100 times a day.
I bet.
For real though, like, I mean, it's you know, it's we live in the city of Detroit. My kids go to Detroit public schools. You know, we haven't robbed them of their childhood. So they have activities, you know, sports and Girl Scouts and school stuff and everything like that. So my wife
Can I ask you quickly,
really,
as you're answering, do you have security concerns when it comes to these kinds of things?
Well, I mean, there was a credible bomb threat on my home on September 11th this year that named my wife and children specifically in it, which was really disgusting and problematic. And I appreciate the Detroit Police Department, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, and Michigan State Police for clearing that. And so we were unharmed in that. But it was terrible to have to explain that to my 12-year-olds. It was 2 weeks before their 12th birthday. I had to explain that to them. And you know, they're old enough to have questions that don't have good answers. You got a 7th grader in your house, right? They ask good questions that have bad answers. So that was really having to parent through that was what was hard about it. But I mean, like, you know, like I don't have a security detail, you know, so man, I do think about, you know, my family's safety as any parent would, as any father would. But what my wife and I, you know, we figure it out like parents do. You know, families figure it out. And, you know, I am, you know, sometimes my kids are the last ones to get picked up from soccer practice or dance class. Okay, that happens. Right. Because I got caught in traffic on the freeway. But
I've been there. And I'm not lieutenant governor.
so you know, so we try to make it work. But yeah, it's it takes a lot of effort. We are tired when we fall asleep at night. But I also know that I get a lot of energy from, you know, how many conversations I can have with Michiganders in a given day. And the fact that I get to go all over the biggest state east of the Mississippi River and talk to people every day about what's important to them and how I can be helpful and useful to them, that's really fulfilling.
Can you guys keep doing some nice work in St. Joe on the beaches there? Because I really love going up in the summer with my family. My kids love the town. It's beautiful. Lake Michigan's a little cold when you go in, which is nice. It wakes you up. Actually, we love it there.
I mean,
you can,
look,
nothing corrupt. Like, I'm not going to offer you anything. Can you just maybe lay a little extra sand down there for my family, or is that good?
I mean, I got to be real with you because I'm the serious one in this conversation. We have tried to do a lot. Shoreline erosion is a real thing in Lake Michigan,
See, I
and
told you he will have a great answer to anything.
like,
Even I'm just trying to have fun. Listen, man, I'm glad you answered these seriously, but I'm trying to show people also your personality and your smile, because you've got great answers, but you also are fun and really a good guy. So I do my best to see if I can bring, also get that mixture with your brilliant answers.
And while we're talking about your kids, Garlin, because I got to ask, because the conversations I have with my 7th grader are remarkable, even about politics. What do your 7th graders think about you running for governor and the state of politics and the state of the world, the state of Michigan?
So it's actually interesting. My son and my twins share my birthday too, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
Oh,
And
wow.
so what's been really funny to me is when I'll hear from, like, whether it's one of the teachers or like another kid at the school who will say, like, yeah, Garland told me you're the lieutenant governor. like my dad's lieutenant governor. So I think they're proud. I think but like, while they're proud of it, they also
They're not. Give me their number. I'll call them, tell them they should be proud.
Sure, I appreciate that. But what's also real though is, like, yeah, they would prefer that I was at all the soccer games.
Of course.
They would prefer that I was home to eat dinner every night. And so, like, while it's like interesting and there are like questions of curiosity, I'm not gonna lie and say they think it's like awesome, because they would rather have me be able to be more present more consistently for the things that are important to us. And I got to do my best. Like, every parent does their best, right?
Sure.
But the nature of my job takes me away a lot, and that's difficult.
Carly, I say this as I've got a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old, and they just turned 19 and 16, so they're barely there. But as somebody who, initially, especially with the choice we made as a family, my wife is from, Cincinnati, that to move away from New York and DC and out here and raise our kids here, there was a huge challenge because, 15 years ago or so when this happened, like, there was no, it wasn't acceptable to work remote. Like, I kept my DC number. I knew that what most people don't know on the East Coast, which is they have no idea where Cincinnati is. They're like, where is that? Is that in Colorado or Louisiana or whatever? And I knew that it was an hour flight, just like from New York, like a shuttle flight to DC. So I knew I could fly to DC at 6 a.m. in the morning, which I would do, spend all day there, go to meetings. I could hop on a flight at 4 or 5 on the way back and be back for dinner. But there are times when I couldn't, right? And there, especially when we were working together after that, I did a lot of work with Michael Bloomberg's group, Everytown for Gun Safety, was really involved. And that was a lot of hours and worked on some, all the issues you could imagine, from abortion rights to the environment and others. And, sometimes it just were times where I had to be on the East Coast. We weren't doing Zooms in 2013, right? I honestly think I can say this with my kids being a little bit older, like, your kids will understand if you made every attempt to be there and you just couldn't because you were doing something. There will be an age where they'll understand how important it was what you were doing. I'm sure you probably know that, but it's worth hearing that, like, you're not just like, hey, guys, be cool to hang with you, but I think I'm going to go have some Old E over there in the bar, and I'll meet up with you. And I'll meet up with you later. Have fun.
Old E, right? That's a hilarious
English. That's the. I did so much of that in college, and probably still have some brain damage. So let's move on. But in all seriousness, like, you do what you've got to do on that front, and you're there as often as you can be there. So speaking of that, being that you're, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We try. I'm like, like, there's stuff that they want to come to. You try to include them in stuff when we can. It's hard, like, during the school year and during the week, but, like, this past summer, like, they were coming to stuff with me,
That's great.
And it was great. And so I think there will be a version of that as they get, curious about particular things. Like, I'm excited to have them be part of it.
All right. So I'll ask you, the question, and I'll say right away, because I'm not hiding anything here. I'm biased towards you. I've already endorsed you. You're my man. But with that said, you have two opponents, at least that I know of. You got Jocelyn Benson, who is the Secretary of State, who's running. You also have, because somebody just pitched me to have this person on my show. Let's see. Let's see. Who is it? Chris Swanson. I'm not sure I even know who that is, but that may be my fault. And then isn't the Detroit mayor like running as an independent because he's a schmuck and wants to I'm sorry. Why would you run as an independent right now in the situation we're in, where we have real fascists trying to do things? You can answer any of that however you like. Like, are you going to be talking about your opponents? You just running your own campaign and just sort of leaving them over there? Do you have critiques of them? Or how about this? Are there differences that make you unique that they do not have?
Yeah, I mean the truth is, like, what am I gonna do? Like, all of the above, because I think it's what that requires for me to become the next governor of the state of Michigan. Look, in the Democratic primary, you did mention my two opponents. You know, I am the candidate in this race, not just in the Democratic primary, but frankly for governor. Period. The person who has creative value for Michiganders on the things that actually matter. Housing, I've spearheaded 40,000 new housing units online and restarted the state's housing trust fund and put in place a program where we actually got a chance to work with the Federal Reserve Bank of Indianapolis. So if you get a home loan from the state of Michigan, we'll knock a full point off of your mortgage. That's like $1,000, $1,100 a month on housing affordability. That's important. I've created value on access to health care, standing up new school-based health clinics, opening up 40 new certified community behavioral health clinics for mental health services that serve people regardless of their ability to pay, regardless of whether or not they have insurance. Because when I go all across Michigan, I hear about housing and I hear about access to mental health services. The second thing that comes up in all those conversations.
If they have, can I ask you? This is an area I'm particularly interested in. So if folks have, because I think we have, we have betrayed sort of betrayed's not the right word, but we have so underfunded mental health services. We know this is such a serious issue. We pretend it doesn't exist. We pretend that there aren't, a huge number of Americans that actually deal with these issues every day, and they still are working. But they can use the help. So, is this just something that's free for everyone, or let's say you do have the money to pay? Do you charge a certain amount? How does that work?
So how it's funded is through actually a federal program, the Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic program. This is actually one of the last things that I worked on this with outgoing or now retired Senator Debbie Stabenow. It's kind of one of the feathers on her cap for her public service here to the state of Michigan and to the country, was helping me stand up this program in the state of Michigan. So there is money there for people who cannot afford to pay or don't have insurance, that is funded by the federal government, that has been protected even in this horrific administration. And then for those who can pay, obviously, then they have a pathway to doing that. So this is a sustainable model, built about 40 centers across the state of Michigan, and we're going to do more.
Based on income, as it should be, based on sort of your income. And if you can't, okay, that's great. Right. I mean, and I'm so glad to hear that you've done that. I mean, that's awesome.
It's important. I mean, I'm also the only person who's created value on things like childcare. Okay, we talked about the ages of our respective children. Y'all, I had twins. I had to pay for two at the same time. Okay, like childcare is crazy. And I talked to people in Michigan who say that their childcare bill is more than their mortgage or more than their rents. Right? Childcare centers in Michigan that have wait lists the size of their capacity and not enough of them. So that's why I led a program called Caring for My Future that opened up 1,400 childcare centers in 13 months across the state of Michigan. I'm about results. The difference between me and everybody else running for governor is they cannot point to progress that they've made on the issues that matter to people in Michigan, on the things that people can't afford. I've helped to make them more affordable, more supply, and make it easier for people to be able to have money in their pocket to spend on it. I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to build on that foundation. I see what me and Governor Whitmer has done as a launching pad to more progress. And I'm the person who can make that happen, who will make that happen. And no one else running for governor of Michigan can say that.
Garlin,
let me ask one thing quickly, David, if you don't mind. Are other of the last I'll ask on your opponents, are any of them, how shall we say, do they have any independent expenditures from rather wealthy folk, people that look like Elon Musk traipsing around on his yacht? shirtless, which shouldn't be allowed. By the way, if you can pass a law banning that, that would be awesome. I got you to laugh. There we go. No, but I mean, if I mean, are there, I'm sorry. So when it comes to okay, I'm going to kick it over to David. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I'll
I'm going to start laughing.
Question. I mean, the funding of your opponents, is it kosher? Is it strange? What's going on with them?
I mean, look, I am not a millionaire and billionaire connected politician. I'm not.
That's what I was trying to get at, by the way, but I couldn't stop laughing.
I have not spent my life. I have not spent my time in public service. I have not spent my time campaigning, trying to find the pathway to the most millionaires. I think millionaire and billionaire connected politicians, corporate Democrats, corporate politicians, I think because they are that way and they are dependent upon those kind of resources, that's what got us the politics that we have. If millionaires and billionaires are the ones you optimize for, no wonder normal people can't afford anything. That's why how we got here. That is not me. That is not the campaign that I have run, that I have built. We have built a campaign that's focused and grounded in grassroots donors that are donating an average of $24 to my campaign. So that's what I'm focused on, and I think that is going to be a difference that you will see as you look at who's funding. How many MAGA billionaires are donating to other people running for governor of Michigan? I can tell you, they're not going to donate to me, and I'm not courting that money either, because I believe that the people who are giving me $2, $12, $25, those are people who are having struggles affording something, but they're excited about a governor who can help them be able to afford more. And so that's why I'm running it, to do that.
Garlin, when is the primary?
Our primary is in August of 2026. So you
wow.
got time to help me build this runway. I'm excited about our path to victory.
That brings me to my next question, which is kind of silly. And because you're a friend of Cliff, I actually feel comfortable asking this question of you that I wouldn't ask of a lot of people, so forgive me. But we have a friend who ran for Congress in California, and he said one of the biggest challenges that he had physically in running is that everywhere he went, every restaurant would want him to eat their special or eat their dessert. And in Michigan, you got a lot of good restaurants, whether it's Greektown or Zingerman's in Ann Arbor. How do you campaign and stay physically fit when everybody's always wanting you to eat stuff?
It's a fantastic question. So this is where it helps that I'm 6 feet 8 inches tall. I got a lot of space to occupy with all the desserts. So that helps a lot. Can
you challenge your opponents to a dunking contest?
It's a great idea. It's a great idea. We should look at that.
Go into that. Go
free throw shooting, whatever, right? Anything on the basketball court.
You gotta be nice to people, and you gotta say, "Yeah, I'll try your sweet potato pie, or I'll try this." But at the same time,
you know what though? I'll tell you this. So it's a gift. Look, yeah. So you got to figure out how to fit in some a workout at 5 o'clock in the morning to work around it, but. It's a gift. Look, people, what I found is that I think people are excited to meet somebody running for office because they're just accustomed to, abused by these distant politicians who make decisions for somebody else that hurt them. And so when they meet somebody who's like, yeah, you actually gonna come and talk to me for real and ask me what's important to me and not talk at me, that's somebody I want to spend time with. And when you meet, genuine, nice people, when they spend time with you, they want to break bread with you. And so, yeah, that means I'm gonna have to try your pizza. I'm gonna have to try your pie. That's a gift. I think that's awesome. And so we.
So do you think Detroit pizza is then better than Chicago and New York pizza? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's a fact. People should come to the city of Detroit and get Detroit-style pizza at Michigan and Trumbull, and it will change their lives.
And Cliff, if you like deli food, there's no better deli than Zingerman's in Ann Arbor. And I've had this argument with my wife. It's oh, Second Avenue Deli in New York. I'm like, no. Zingerman's is far and above.
That is
100%. He brought up, of all the delis in New York, that one, because that's the one I grew up 10 blocks from. So the Second Avenue Deli is the one that I grew up going to. But I would tell you, haven't been to Koch's, you can't judge all delis until you go to Koch's.
There's a restaurant named Crotches?
Not Crotch. Koch.
Koch. Oh, sorry.
Koch is that may be in a different kind of establishment. And if you went there, David, I don't judge. Okay, but Koch's was different. What?
I'm sorry.
not take this any
I believe I have the Speaker of the House on line one.
I take this any further, I'm going to ruin Garland's career. So I'm going to stop now. You're hitting every county. You said earlier you're going to go to every single county. And I mean, obviously, like huge diversity in your state. And when I say diversity, I'm not just talking about race. I'm talking about certainly, when you talking about sort of the geography of the state. Do you have the same basic sort of, speech, same basic talk that you give everywhere? I mean, obviously you add some local issues in. That would be dumb not to. But like, your message, you're walking in, I don't care. You're walking into Detroit, you're walking into a place in the UP, you're walking into, what's your basic message? If you're looking people in the face, what are you telling them?
Let me first let you know that I'm not just going to the counties because I'm campaigning. I've been to all 83 counties of Michigan 3 or more times during my service. Nobody has put in the work on the road to go see people in Michigan where they are more than me in the last at least 50 years. So I've gotten to know communities in every single corner of this state. And I'll give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I was up in northern Michigan. Here's the thing the Michiganders do. I was up here, it's Alcona County, Michigan, just north of Alpena, Michigan, in a town called Greenbush, Michigan. And I had an event at 7:30 a.m. on a Friday. And 50 people came to have breakfast with me at a diner, which was excellent, at 7:30 a.m. on a Friday. And let me tell you what I talked with them about the fact that this system that is squeezing your retirement funds, that is squeezing the cost of housing and rent in this community, that system is rigged and has been broken by these huge corporations, these super wealthy people that don't pay what they owe so we can't have what we need. Your children and grandchildren who go to a public school, those kids' school is still not yet fully funded. And they need more. And the reason we don't have all that money today is because they have not paid the taxes that they should owe. That message has resonated across the state of Michigan. I'm consistent when I show up. People can trust that. And that's important. So I think when people are coming and responding to this campaign in the way that they are at the people level, at the grassroots level, is because they know that they're going to get someone who's going to fight for them, that they can trust, and who can get things done, who can point to progress and then show where we need to go.
So you don't just think, trickle down economics works. Like if you cut the DeVos's taxes, they would end up making the state more prosperous. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that my glasses work, and I've seen what's happened with that policy, and it hasn't,
my friend. Well said.
Hey, Garlin, where can people find you? What's the website? How do people help your campaign over the next 10 months or 12 months?
And I'm going to say, can I say something quickly? Like, if you just heard this entire presentation, and you don't want to give Garlin Gilchrist a contribution, I'm not insulting anybody. I'll just say I don't understand you, just because we here here on Wednesdays, we're on Substack on Thursdays, other get-togethers, we talk about this all the time. We want people that will fight Donald Trump. We want people that will diagnose the problem as it exists, which is billionaires, monopolies, others taking everything for themselves, including our democracy, our democratic rights, and our ability to make a living. And this man understands this and talks about this all the time. This is his message, and this is the message we've been hoping, and I won't name names, would come from certain leaders in Washington. It has come from certain members of Congress, but so all I know is he said the average is $24 that comes in. I bet a lot of you can give $24 and make sure that the governor of Michigan is somebody that we can all, we're going to all look up to him because he's 6'8" for F's sake. But, when you get a picture of me next to you, you're like a foot taller than me, dude. Yeah, I'm going to make sure to spike my hair up a lot so I get an extra inch out of it. But seriously, you know what? So let me say, first of all, support this guy. He's as good as it gets. I said that about my friend Greg Landsman when we had him on here as a congressman. There's only a couple folks, in politics that I really consider friends on a personal level. And it's because they are the same, as I always say about the people we try to have on this show, they're the same people off camera as they are on camera. Like, they are the same. Let me, so donate to this man, but let me, and you've got it right there. GarlinGilchrist.com.
GarlinGilchrist.com. You can follow me on TikTok, Garlin Gilchrist MI. Follow me on Instagram, Garlin II. That's where you'll see sort of the latest and greatest about what we're talking about and why and who we're including. But yeah, please contribute to this campaign. This campaign will send a statement. Look, every conversation that we're having about elections and primaries right now is about the future of this country and the future of the Democratic Party. And this campaign, this primary for governor here in the state of Michigan, in a state that matters and that is of national significance in terms of what happens in Congress, what happens in the Senate, what happens in the presidency. All eyes will be on my state here in the state of Michigan. And this kind of campaign, run with this kind of energy that is about people, that is focused on bringing people in or bringing people back to the Democratic coalition, that is focused on making sure that we maximize the turnout of Black voters and voters of color, that we bring home our Arab American and Muslim voters here back to the coalition, because they'll have a candidate in Michigan who said that I'm rejecting money from AIPAC, who said that I will stand up and speak out about what's happening in Gaza and the fact that there has been a genocide that has been prosecuted by this Netanyahu government. They're willing to say that and welcome people here to the coalition, who's willing to show that this grassroots energy, this energy of people who are ready to fight back against these millionaires and billionaires and huge corporations that have controlled this system for far too long. It's not that Trump poisoned the system. It was broke to begin with. He just somehow poured gasoline on the fire. But we have a chance to put that fire out, starting from the state of Michigan. And I think when we're looking for somebody to set it up, we're looking for somebody to put that fire out, look to the Great Lakes state, the state with the most fresh water in the world and in the country. Like, we are the ones who can be the solution to this challenge, to set the direction for this party in this country. And I want to be the person to help walk that charge, lead that charge with all of you. So yes, go to GarlinGilchrist.com to support. Donate to us on AdBlue. Follow us on social media on TikTok and Instagram. Garlin Gilchrist MI on TikTok, Garlin II on Instagram. Come be part of this movement and stand tall.
Can I say something quickly before you go?
Yeah.
Obviously. So I agree 100%. And I've had these conversations with what you said about Netanyahu's a war criminal and what happened in Gaza. But for any sort of Jewish voters in Detroit and others that are worried when it comes to anti-Semitism, I want to give you the opportunity, because you also said some other, I think, very important things to me, about your beliefs about when it came to, October 7th and some of that. And I just, again, I obviously what's happening in Gaza and what Netanyahu's in is horrific. But I wanted to give you that chance because I want Jewish voters to understand, as I am Jewish, that they can feel very comfortable that that you support all of us. How about I say that?
Absolutely. What Hamas did on October 7th was horrific. And I will stand up to and against all forms of hate in the state of Michigan: anti-Semitism, racism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, and all the other kinds of hatred that lead to not only violence, but intimidation and discrimination in the state of Michigan. I will stand tall against that harder than anybody else will, because I know what it feels like to be discriminated against, to be harassed because of what I look like and where I'm from. I understand that in my bones, and I won't accept that for anybody in Michigan, whether you are a person of the Jewish faith or any other faith or have no faith at all. Like, my job will be to protect and defend you as the governor of Michigan, and that is what I'll do.
Well, Garlin, you've got my support. You've got Cliff's. And one more thing before you go. Sing along, Garlin. Here we go. Hail to the victors. Hail to the conquerors. Hail to Michigan.
Not bad pitch.
All right.
There we go.
Now, the only other thing I'll say is
only fight song y'all recognize. There we
go.
go.
You know what? I like you so much that even if you had gone to Michigan State, I would still be supporting you as governor and your campaign. You're such a great guy, but we are so proud of what you've done, both in your career, your degree, as a family man, as lieutenant governor. We wish you only the best. And I have a feeling Cliff and I are going to be out there joining you, maybe in Greektown or maybe at Zingerman
I would
sometime
love
next
to
summer, do some
come.
events. We will be your eating guys. We will eat the food so that you can stay nice and svelte, and Cliff and I will put on the pounds on your behalf.
Yeah, we will come there. That's right. We'll eat the
It's
food
a
that
team
you
effort.
can like
Look.
put it past your mouth and pretend, and then we'll eat it and we'll get fat, and you can become governor, and the world will be a better place. Because the only other guarantee I need to get from you before I let you go is if somehow, and this sadly, my city's been phenomenal in electing progressive folks, but this state has seemingly gotten stupider and stupider over the past decade. If somehow the people in this state, and I swear to God, I will never forgive you all if you do this, elect Vivek I just have to say it that way, Ramaswamy as governor of this state, will you take my family in as immigrants to the state of Michigan from the state of Ohio?
You will always have a home in Michigan.
Woohoo!
That's what I needed to hear. Listen, man, this has been a pleasure.
And thanks for putting up with this, Garlin.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
we're
We
not
try
like
to make it
most
fun.
interviews, but
We joke.
appreciate
Hey,
your-
thanks for having
your
me, y'all.
indulging.
You're fantastic, man.
Absolutely. No, this is great,
I'll
y'all.
be in touch with your folks, but let's try to get you back on sometime, assuming that you're willing to put up with us again, in the near future, and we can let people know. Donate to this man.
And for his next interview, Garland's going to join us in singing the alma mater. I'm telling you, Cliff. We're going to do that.
Okay. Get him to work on it.
Go Blue Garland. Go get him for
Hey,
us. Have a great
Thanks, y'all.
campaign. We'll
This was
talk to you
great. I
soon, Garland.
appreciate y'all. Thanks you.
You're
Absolutely.
fantastic. Take care, buddy. All right.
What a show, Cliff.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
he is just
He's
like,
such a great guy. Oh my God.
you
He's so
know,
talented.
he's fantastic. He's a terrific person. He's genuine. He's everything. And he was back then, and it kind of knew that if he ran for office, the sky was the limit. I mean, I think he could be president someday. I really
Yep,
do.
I'm with you.
So thank you, David, for being here. We got a Michigander again for you. That's always a good thing.
That's always good.
What happened with me, my camera, somebody came in, I guess the people that clean the office came in and knocked it into a different position. So I tried to fix it today, and obviously it had me set up so I was below the thing. They must have, I don't know if they knocked it forwards, that means, or they would have knocked it
You're
forwards.
still a good, Cliff.
Well, I just want, I mean, I'm not ice, so I want people to be able to see below here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not pulling an ice thing. I want you to see my face. So I brought over my chair that I use for when we go on the thing on Substack tomorrow, because that has weird windows, and you have to be higher up. It's a thing, folks. But that's it. Thank you everybody for being here. I saw that. I think it has to be said that just wow, Marie. I'm not sure what to even say about that.
Thank you,
That is
Marie.
incredible. I'll ask folks, I'm not going to do a song and dance. I'll ask you to remember, if you enjoyed this conversation with Garland, please think about super chats and super stickers. They don't have to be $249, or if that's what that is, or is that
That's $249. Marie.
different form of currency? Or you could, $1.99, 99 cents, anything to support. We appreciate. I want to also point out that Sheldon Hughes, of course, who's always here for us, gifted another membership to our YouTube. Thank you, Sheldon. And anyone else who can, please support us. Oh, it's $24.83 in US dollars. Oh, so was that? Okay, so there you go. You know what? $24.83. Is that Norwegian? Is that what was it? Somebody said there were Norwegian in there. I don't know what it was. In any case, anything. That's the point. 99-cent super stickers. It all goes to supporting people. Also support Garland. And we have anything else to say, David?
No. Go do your kid thing. I'm going to go do the basketball.
I got a kid playing in a semifinals or something. Awesome. Thank you, Lefty Gramps, with $5. Thank you. I've got a kid playing in, we're now past it. We're like the district finals or something in his soccer tournament. So we got to go. You guys are outstanding. Thank you for being here. And I will repeat as I do, as the sun sets slowly in the west, my friends, both David and I bid you a fond farewell.